fiber friends, welcome to Sweet Mountain Crafts Fibercast number 7. My name's Carista and I'm recording on January 14th, 2022 from Cody, Wyoming. So welcome. I'm so glad to have you guys here with me, to join me, to see some of my fun projects and the things that I'm working on, and look forward to just sharing a little bit about what's been going on in life. So thanks for coming back, those of you that have been here before, and thank you for anyone that are joining me today. Be sure to like and subscribe and do all the things on YouTube to make sure to follow my future podcasts. You can find me online at sweetmountaincrafts.com, my website, or on Instagram at Sweet Mountain Crafts, Sweet Mountain Mohair, and Sweet Mountain Fiber. You can also get in touch with me via email at hello@sweetmountaincrafts.com. And feel free to leave a comment below if you ever have any questions about the podcast. I will try to respond to you. I do try to respond to comments, even if it takes me a little while to get back to people. But thank you again for stopping by and joining me today. Let's see what we can get into. First of all, what am I wearing? I decided to throw on this fun scarf. This was a sample knit that I did for my local yarn shop, and it's knit out of Noro. I knit this a number of years ago, so I don't have the ball band or anything, but it is out of Noro yarn, and it's a fairly simple bias scarf with eyelets in it. Again, I don't remember the exact pattern, but I will put a link for a pattern that is similar to this in the show notes. So I find that I really like this scarf because it has so many colors in it, and today it kind of helped break up the monotony of my outfit since I'm wearing gray with my gray hair. So anyway, yeah, it's a great pattern, and actually because I've started spinning my own yarns, I'm thinking that this might be a good one to do something similar to this again with some of my own hand spun. So at some point maybe I'll break out and do another bias scarf similar to this. All right, life has been very full for me over the last couple weeks, which is great. I took a pause, as I said in my last podcast, and some of you may have seen on Instagram. I took just a bit of a pause from business and online life to spend some time with my family, and actually we were traveling during that time. So we live in Wyoming at this point in our lives, and Wyoming, as many should know or might know, is a landlocked state. Which means that we don't get to the ocean from here. And I love the ocean. I lived in Florida for a little bit as a kid. My husband's from California, so we both enjoy playing in the water and getting an opportunity to spend time in the ocean. So in the winter, we try to take an annual trip where we get a chance to go play in the water, take our kids out to the ocean, get on a beach, get in some sunshine, especially through these longer, darker winter days. And so that's what we did last week. And it was such a great trip. Our kids are getting older, and as they're starting to leave the house, we realized that these trips are gonna start to take on a little bit different flavor. But it was so nice to have another trip this year, especially because we canceled last year due to everything going on. And so it felt really just sad that we didn't get to go last year, and kind of a depressing thing. So we made a point of taking the time this year, and I'm so glad we did. It was a beautiful trip. So I will share a little bit about that trip in some of my photos and videos. One of the places that we went to is a weaving shop where the ladies that own the shop weave all kinds of blankets and tablecloths and table runners and placemats and all kinds of woven things. And it's just a beautiful shop. We love to go there. We've been there, I guess this was our second time there. And then while there, I bought this that you'll see. I'm using it as like a tablecloth for our living room table at the moment, but it is actually probably something that I'd use on the beach. So something to lay on. It's just a cotton woven fabric, and the colors are just happy and cheery and make me think of the beach. So anyway, that's one of the fun things that we did on our trip. We also put together puzzles and went swimming and hung out on the beach and just enjoyed our time. So that was a nice break. During that time, I did get a little bit of opportunity to knit. Because we were traveling, I didn't take my larger projects with me, but I did take some with me and got some knitting in, so I'll share some of that soon. But then we headed back to Wyoming, and thankfully, this was kind of fun. While we were gone, the temperatures dropped to negatives. It got really chilly, like -30 almost near our house while we were gone. So we missed that fun time. But when we got home, it started warming up, and it's actually been really pretty and decent weather. And then this morning I woke up to a little bit of snow. Not a lot. We hope to get more throughout the winter, but here's an image of what's outside my windows at the moment. So anyway, I'm excited to have some snowfall for sure, and hope we get more, because we are a skiing and snowboarding family and hope to get on the slopes, but we have to have a little bit more snow here before the local hills anyway will be any good to us. So something else that I had the opportunity to work on, and will be hopefully getting back to this gal today, is this sweater. And I didn't take a picture of the whole sweater, but you can see in this image here the just beautiful cabling on this sweater. This is a sweater from the Aran Islands in Ireland, and while I was at a craft market in November, this gal came up to me and she said, "Oh, I have this sweater that I love. It's from a trip that was really special to me out to Ireland and the Aran Islands." And she's like, "I bought this sweater there and it's just super special to me." She says she wears it similar to like a coat or a jacket, and that it has some holes and needs a little bit of love and attention, and she didn't have that ability or the materials maybe to be able to do that. So she said, "Would you be willing?" And I said, "Certainly. I mean, that's a fairly simple fix for me. I have lots of materials to be able to work on it." And so she passed the sweater to me, trusting it to my care, and I was able to fix a few holes. There was one on the wrist, and that was probably the most significant one, and actually the only one that she mentioned. But in further looking around the sweater and just getting it ready for her, I found a couple other holes, one in the bottom of a pocket and one down near the hem. So I fixed those and will hopefully get that back to her today. But what a fun way to interact with those around us, to be able to save and preserve a special memory of theirs that's just, even when she passed it off to me again after we met, for her to hand it off to me, she just said, "This is such a special sweater that it holds so many dear memories," and she really didn't want to lose it. So it was just a neat opportunity to be able to help her out. Keeping me accountable. First off, I will share my Comfort Fade cardi. This was one of the large projects I didn't take with me, so I've been working on this a little bit since I got back home. I'm not a whole lot further than I was on my last podcast, but I've made a little bit of progress on it, so I figured I could share today. So here's the Comfort Fade by Andrea Mowry, or Drea Renee Knits. And as you can see, I have faded in that second color. So my second color here is this ball of yarn, and it is really fun. These have kind of, this yarn has chunks of the turquoise. You can see here that the turquoise extends for quite a while. And then there's also fairly large sections of browns. So in this initial fade, it's actually interesting because you kind of lose the fade in some of the spots because of those longer sections of turquoise that blend so much with the initial color. But I'm excited about that because I want this to be a more gradual fade instead of very blunt, abrupt fade. I want it to be more of a natural fade, and I think that this yarn is going to work well that way. So the color that I will add in after this one, next up, is this here, which is more brown tones in it, and a lot less of the turquoise. So this will be a more dramatic change when I put this color in. Again, these colors are from my Daily Blessings line, and this is funny. I realized that I'm not naming which each of the colors are, because while I remember the names of the colors, I forget which name I put with which color. So for my next podcast, maybe what I can do is identify what the names are, because hopefully within the next couple weeks, I will have some more of this dyed up and available in my shop. But that is my Comfort Fade cardi. I'm really enjoying the process. I said on the last podcast that I made a couple changes. I am knitting with a one size smaller needle, so I'm using a US 5 versus a US 6 that the pattern calls for. And my yarn is a cashmere or merino cashmere nylon, and it's just super soft, and I'm looking forward for sure to having that sweater. So I'm having fun knitting it, and we'll continue going probably pretty regularly on that, hoping that I can make that a pretty quick knit. We'll see if I can stay on top of it. I can so easily get distracted. But another keeping me accountable here is my Brioche adventure shawl. So as I've mentioned before, I received mini skeins in a mini skein swap, and out of those skeins I took 16 of them and laid them out. I'll put that image here again. I laid them out in a color pattern that I liked, or I thought that they would go well together. And then I've started working on the shawl for this. So this was a travel project, and it worked out well because I kept just a portion. I didn't put all the mini skeins in this bag, but I have this small bag from Unique Astrid. And I put, let's see, I guess I had 6 of the mini skeins balled up and in there, and I started working on them. Now I've only made it to the 4th color so far. This is where I go, oh yeah, brioche takes longer than standard knitting because every row is working 2 colors. So it is definitely a little bit longer process, but I love the look so far, and I think I'm gonna really enjoy the finished result of this. This shawl will be one that, as the colors go, as you saw in the picture, it's gonna have a lot of dramatic color change as it goes across. So I've started with some very warm tones with the reds and the pinks, with just a little bit of green thrown in. And then as it goes, it's gonna get some purples and blues and grays, all kinds of colors. But I find that sometimes shawls or scarves like this are really, really helpful, because with so many colors in them, much like the scarf that I'm wearing today, you can wear it with so many things, and that can be really fun. I love neutrals for the same reason, but I find myself, especially with my hair color, I find myself doing a lot of knitting and crocheting in really bright pops of color, because for me, my color palette naturally is already very monochromatic. So it's good to have that pop of color to add to my wardrobe. I probably need some more neutral sweaters so that I can wear some of my scarves and shawls with sweaters, because at this point in time, I think all of my sweaters are pretty colorful, because I like to do color work and stuff. But you know, like today, this is just a store-bought top, and I need some hand knits that are kind of in the same color way. But anyway, the Brioche adventure shawl, it has been a lot of fun to do so far. There was a tubular cast on, which was unique. So you just did an I-cord cast on, excuse me, where you knit an I-cord. This was just a full I-cord, and I probably should be careful to not give away a ton of information here because it is a paid for pattern, but that was an interesting cast on. I'd never done anything like that. And then there's an I-cord edging on each side of this, but I'm having fun knitting that. So I'll keep working on that. It's a great, like I say, it's a great travel project. So, or just at this point, it's a pretty mindless project. It doesn't take a lot. I don't have to look at the pattern or anything at this point. So it's an easy one to grab and go to. So it's kind of taken the place of my sock knitting at this point in time because it travels so well. And that's usually what I have socks on the needles for, is because they travel with me very easily to appointments and, you know, whatever, if I know I'm going to be sitting and waiting. But this one, in the small bag that it's in right now, travels really well. As the shawl grows, there will come a point where it'll get a little bit too awkward and I probably won't find it as easy to take with me places. But right now, while it's just in the first few color repeats, it's easy enough to do. So those are my knitting projects. Let's look at a couple of my spinning projects. So I am kind of half finished with a couple spins. I had the opportunity to meet with my local spinning group on Tuesday. So that kind of gave me some motivation when I got back from our trip to get some spinning done. I did a little bit of spinning just before we left on our trip because I'm enjoying my new drum carder, as you guys saw in the last podcast. And I wanted to make sure to get some of those yarns spun up. But I also then on Tuesday this week, I guess, this past week, had the opportunity to meet with other spinning ladies in the area. And it's so fun to meet with them because they have a wealth of knowledge and experience. And just even in the little bit of chatter that goes on, there's little tidbits and information that can be picked up. Anyway, so one of the projects that I worked on while I was at spinning was this art yarn, which at this point, unfortunately, you can't see all that is in this yarn. And the reason it's still on the bobbin here is because I did a core spun, and you can probably see that it's core spun here. This was the Christmassy colorway that I had in a couple previous podcasts that I said I wanted to get to. And on this outer part, I just did a plain core spun. So it's just the roving, which was a Corriedale cross, over a core yarn. So if you can kind of see here, let's see. This gray yarn is my core, and as I'm spinning, I'm wrapping my roving or my top around the core. And like I say, on the outside of this bobbin, that's all you're seeing. On the inside of the bobbin, the first little bit of spinning that I did has a lot more drama to it. And the reason that I am not showing that right now is because I'm going to take this and I'm going to do a second core spinning where I'm going to make it a coiled art yarn. And I will have that on the next podcast. So this is kind of a half finished object at this point in time because I need to do that second spin. And when I do that, then all the things on the inside that you're not able to see at the moment will be visible at that point. And then my plan is with this, I have a weaving that I intend to make. There's a Christmas themed weaving that's in my head that one of the things because I'm still new to weaving and because the weaving is so freeform, it will probably not look exactly like what's in my mind, but I have something very specific that I'm going to be shooting for with this hand spun. So hopefully I'll at least have it coil spun for the next podcast. And if possible, we'll see if maybe I'll even have it woven. Some of it is now that Christmas is over, there's a part of me that thinks that maybe I'll just get the yarn done. And as I get closer to Christmas 2022, I will work on the weaving then. But we'll see. We'll see how motivated I am to keep going with that. Another yarn that I had fun spinning, and this one actually I spun just after we got back from vacation, so the colors in it totally make me think beach and sun and sky. And anyway, this was a fun bat that I did on my drum carder, and I'm going to show you an image here of the initial fiber packet that I got from Green Goat Ranch. And so I took those fibers And let's see, did I add, oh, I did. I added some fiber that I'd gotten from Amber of a Lovely Yarn podcast. She'd sent me some Rolex, and the colors just seemed like they would go really well with this. So I went ahead and I carded the fibers together and created a large bat. And then from that bat, I hand spun this. So again, I would call this a half finished object because at this point it's still just a single. You can see it's just a single ply yarn. And my intention is to take this, and I think I'm going to turn it into a double. I'm not totally decided yet, and that's part of the reason it's still on the bobbin. But I did have fun spinning it. I had fun carding it, first of all. I had fun spinning it. And this yarn makes me think a lot more of this kind of a yarn where there's just so many colors and textures throughout. It has some sparkle, it has some brightness, it has some really blended tones in there, but I'm looking forward to seeing what this is going to come out like in the end. And I don't have a finished item or finished project in mind for this yarn. So again, this is just me learning and playing. But that's the fun of having these things, is that you can just learn and play. So those are some of my spinning projects. I have a little bit more to share with spinning, but first I'm going to share a little crochet. For crochet, I am a long time crocheter. I started crocheting when I was just a little girl. My aunt taught me around the age of 7, and I should state that my aunt taught me because while my mom knows how to crochet, she's a left-handed, she's primarily left-handed, and she was afraid that if she tried to teach me, since I'm primarily right-handed, to crochet, that it would be confusing to try and do that crossover. So she asked my aunt, who is an avid crafter as well. She loves to quilt and crochet and all kinds of things. And so she asked my aunt to teach me how to crochet when I was little. So I've crocheted for many, many years. So I pulled out a project that I have started probably, I don't know, a couple years ago. I don't work on this project often. I just pull it out when I feel like it or whatever, but you guys are going to see what I mean here in a minute. This is a project that I anticipate taking a long time. I'm hoping to put a little bit more effort into it this year, but it is not a priority for me. It doesn't have to be done right now. It's just something that in time, when I get a chance to do this, I do. So this is a mini hexagon. The pattern is by Bunny Mummy, and I will put a link for that in the show notes. It's a very simple hexagon pattern, and it creates these adorable little hexagons. So you can see where this is going now, right? From these hexagons, my goal is to, and at this point, I just have loose hexagons. My goal is to create an entire blanket with these mini hexagons. As I make these hexagons, and I'm just going to hold up what I have right now in my hand. As I make these hexagons, I realize that each one of these is, they are not individually time consuming, but as I go to put them together, they will be. So part of the reason that I haven't put these together yet, and here I can show them, I've just got them in this little case at the moment. Part of the reason that I haven't started putting them together is that because I tend to be using scrap yarn for this, it's all fingering weight yarns. It's all, at this point, as far as I know, it's all superwash merino bases, probably with some nylon in some of them and such. But my intention is to try to spread the colors throughout. So for example, you can see there's a lot of this color. And I find that these colors, I like them, but I don't want a whole bunch of those colors in one spot on what will be the finished project. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just collecting the minis. the mini hexagons. And I actually have another pile of them, not here with me right now, that are ready for ends to be woven in. I am intentionally weaving in ends as I go because one of the things that I'm fearful of is that if I'm not careful with as many hexagons as I'm going to have in this dream of mine, if I don't weave in ends and somewhere along the way something starts to unravel, it would be a lot of work to have to go back and try to repair. So my goal is to make it as stable a finished project as possible. But in at least this year, I'd like to think that I would have maybe like a baby size blanket worth of hexagons ready and start assembling those. And then as I get further in the process, I will slowly add to. So maybe a little bit crazy, we'll see. But as I said, this isn't a like immediate need project. This is just something that I do and I just want to sit and crochet a little bit. And it kind of scratches that itch for me, especially if I don't have any larger crochet projects on the hooks at the moment. It's really fun for me to look through and be reminded of some of the projects that I did with some of these colors. Some of the colors are from, I had a Row 1 membership for a while, which is a subscription for 10 gram minis. And so some of those are from that. Some of them are from mini skein swaps or just random bits, but some of them are from specific projects, and it's really fun for me to look through and remember those projects. All right, woohoo, I made it. I have so little to share on this right now, but that's okay. Life has been busy with other things. Like I said, I got a lot of family time in, and that was important. It's not something I can show on the camera, but so special and important to me anyway. But one finished object I did get done is a spin that I had shown that I was working on. I showed the bat, and I'll insert a couple pictures here. I had these scrap yarns, and then I carded them with Icelandic wool into a bat. And then from that bat, during spinning group on Tuesday, I took them and spun them into a single ply yarn. So that's the yarn here. I'm calling it my confetti yarn. Again, this was a learning project for me. There's not a lot of yarn here, but that's okay. I wanted to see kind of what I did with this yarn is I used different lengths of scraps and played around with what I liked as far as that goes. I wanted to see essentially, and you can see like some of these didn't even get spun in really great. I wanted to see how this was going to play out and what it was going to be like. And in the process, I totally loved spinning it up. I had a lot of fun with it. The gals that were watching me spin it were having fun seeing what it looked like. I'm not totally sure what I'm doing with this yet because this is more of a practice spin, I guess you might say. A practice carding / practice spin. And so I will throw it into a project at some point. Someone suggested mittens or a hat. I think I'd have to pair it with something else to have enough yarn for that, but I think I could. But yeah, I think it turned out fun. I will put an image here as well so you can see it a little bit more up close. It has not been relaxed with a washing yet. So it has some tighter coils in it and stuff that I think if I were to soak it and it would relax it some. That is one of my finished objects, and actually that's the only one that I have to share this week. As you saw in my last podcast, I have a whole list of projects just started, but I are caked up and ready to start, but I am waiting on trying to get some other things done. I really wanted to focus on my sweater and the shawl. So my finished objects list is a little short this week, but that's okay. That's how life is. Thanks for the encouragement. This is my acquisition section. And again, I don't have a whole lot to share this week because I am attempting to do a bit of stash down for 2022. And with that, that means that I'm trying to reduce my spending and utilize some of my own stash. So I have something here that I purchased before the end of the year, and so I'm not counting that. I guess I am counting this as stash, even though this is the first time you'll be seeing it. And then anything that I purchase in 2022 will be counted against my stash down, trying to hopefully use more than I buy. We'll see how this goes. At the beginning of the year, it's always fun to set goals like that, but somewhere around like May or June, I may lose some of the self-control that way. But again, that's how these things go. So let me show you first what I bought at the end of 2021. And look at this. Isn't this so much fun? Oh, I love it. It is from Chicken Lady Fiber Arts, who is Lynn in Colorado. And I have enjoyed getting to know Lynn. And as you guys saw on my vlog, or not my, excuse me, Vlogmas. I didn't have Vlogmas, but on my Instagram, I posted pretty consistently in my stories. I did have her Advent kit, which was all game themed, and I've shared some of that before. But at the end of December, she had some stuff that she had on sale, and then I had a coupon code, and couldn't resist getting a little bit more of Lynn's beautiful stuff. So this one here is Mrs. White, inspired by the game Clue. And I love that it's just a simple white with just bits of color, flecks of black in there. So it's just a very simple speckled yarn, a great yarn to combine with something else. This is on her DK sock, which is a 75% superwash, 25% nylon, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And anyway, I was really excited to get this, just very neutral, that will be fun to work with. And then I also purchased from her literature series, the Friday Night Knitting Club, and I liked the colors that I saw in this one, a little bit pastel-y maybe, but just some fun colors that when I purchased, and again, this is on her DK sock base. When I purchase from other indie dyers, I tend to choose, and I think I said this on the last podcast too, that I tend to choose colors that I wouldn't necessarily be putting in the pans myself, just because I'm busy with other projects, or maybe it's a color I hadn't thought of or considered doing. And so when I'm looking to purchase from others, I'm looking for something that is something that I wouldn't be likely to make for myself. So anyway, I'm excited about these two. Lynn does have a MAL going on at the moment, and it's running from now until starting the 1st of January, actually, until the end of March. And so I will put that code here and in the show notes. And if you are interested, you can use her yarn to enter. I'm not sure just yet what I will be doing, but I hope that before the end of March, I get a chance to participate in that make along. So fun stuff. And what else do I have? So as I said before, I was at Spinning Group on Tuesday, and one of the gals there, a sweet gal named Amy, said that she had a belated Christmas present for me. So she brought me these yarns. This was, there's a little bit more than this, but she brought me these yarns and just said they were part of her stash. She didn't see herself using them anytime soon, and she thought maybe I'd enjoy them. And hey, I'll always take gift yarn. So I don't know just now what I will do with it, but it will be fun to kind of dream and play. I love blues and greens, the cool tones. So yeah, we'll see. I asked her if she knew the content of the yarn, and it sounds like it's mostly just a wool blend. I'm not sure. I'm assuming probably not superwash. So depending on what I think that I might do with it, I've got to keep that in mind for sure. But anyway, fun stuff. So those are my current acquisitions. Now for a little bit of shop talk. I Obviously, like I said, I took last week off and I had announced that on my website as well. So getting back from being gone for a trip, I have orders that I'm filling and trying to get out the door here soon. And then I also have some wholesale orders that I am working on. So I'm going to insert a picture right here of some yarns that I'm getting ready for Windblown Fiber down in Casper. Hannah she has an Erlbacher sock knitting machine, and so she takes yarns that I sell them, or that they wholesale through me, and she will fill orders where someone can purchase the yarn from them, and then she will turn it into socks. And the fun thing with this yarn is that it is a Wyoming yarn. It's a non-superwash wool. It does not have nylon in it. I think you can order it where she will include nylon, like in the heels and toes if you want a little reinforcement. But she has made beautiful socks with some of the yarns that I've dyed for them. That's been a lot of fun and always enjoyable working with them. If you're ever interested, they also will take stash yarn. So if someone has a bunch of stash sock yarn that they want turned into socks, you can always mail your stash yarn to Hannah. Again, you can find her information below, but you can mail your yarn to her and she will turn your yarn into socks for you. Or actually, I've even sent some of my stash yarn to them and just had her make it into a tube. And then from there, I will knit my heels, toes, and cuffs as I want. That's a little bit of collaboration that I do. The next collaboration that I have coming up is a little bit of something with Wise All Knits. And I don't know all the details on this because Cheryl's still waiting to get yarn from me, but this is a little sneak peek. I'm so excited about this colorway. So this is Vinca, or if I'm going to use a Latin pronunciation, I would call it Winca. But this is a beautiful new color that's going to be coming to the shop soon. And then I am also shipping off some of these to Cheryl so that she can start working on a new design. So here's just a little sneak peek. This color will probably be in the shop. I was hoping to have a shop update by tomorrow, but that's just not going to happen. So ideally by next week, I will have a shop update and this color will be available at that time. It is shown here on my Wyoming sock base again. This is a Cormo, 100% Cormo yarn, and it's a 2-ply non-superwash yarn. So it's a very just natural yarn, but it has a really soft hand. And I think that it has taken this color so beautifully. So I'm really excited about this. Yes, this is going to be one of 5 colors in a color series that I'm putting out. Another thing that I have coming up, and I'm not going to share any sneak peeks just yet because I have lots of work to do yet for this collaboration, but in February, or rather by the end of January, I have a collaboration that I'm doing with Susan Smith of Delightful Works. She has sewn up a project bag and I am working on the yarn that will coordinate with that project bag. And at the time of my next podcast, I will have that yarn and those project bags ready to share with you guys, and then they will be listed in the shop for sale towards the end of January, early February. So I'm excited to have that again. So many behind the scenes things happening right now that I have lots of things that I'm working on, but not ready to share just yet, all of those details. The next thing that I'm working on for business related is a crochet pattern and another crocheted shawl design that I have already started putting down a little bit of information on what I'm going to be doing with that, and that will be coming out by May. Yes, in May. And that will be in the Blocked magazine that Neil of You Knitted Kingdom is putting together. So I'm excited to be working on a pattern for him and for that new magazine that's going to be available online. The first Blocked magazine is coming out by the end of January, early February, and there will be patterns and articles included in these magazines. And so I'm looking forward to that. I will link United Kingdom below, but at this point in time, he is still just getting his initial issues put together. But yeah, I'm excited that I get to be a contributor for that magazine. Like I say, it will my pattern will be in the May issue, so a little bit of time yet before you'll see my stuff. All right. Last, as I get ready to go, till next time. I haven't been watching a lot of podcasts. Again, I took a week off from internet use and using or being on social media and such so much. I was on just a little bit just to take care of some basic things that needed to be dealt with. But I took some time off, so I'm not going to share any podcasts this week. There are, again, so many lovely ones out there, and I will share more next week. But for today, I just decided I won't share any new podcasts because I haven't been watching new ones for a little bit here, or watching any podcasts really. I'm just now starting to catch back up with some of my podcasts that I regularly watch. I continued listening to Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, and I've been enjoying that story. It was a library loan, and unfortunately before I finished the book, my loan time was up. So it's an audiobook. It's in audiobook form, but I have it on hold, so once my hold renews or comes available, then I'll continue listening to that and hopefully finish that within a month or so. But in the meantime, I decided to listen to another book, and it seemed like a good time to take on another banned book. I've read or listened to many banned books, but I thought it'd be fun to listen to Brave New World. So at this point, I hadn't read it or listened to it yet, but I just started that here recently, and it is what I thought it was. It's not surprising me. I know a lot about the story without having previously read it, but anyway, I'm enjoying Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, and I still in my evenings am reading Brothers Karamazov, so slowly making my way through that. As I said before, I tend to read books as just a easy go-to downtime as I head to bed, so it can sometimes take me a while. Anyway, I think that's all I have for today. Not as much content to share today, but that's okay. I am looking forward to signing up for Knitting McPurley's Mountain Lake Retreat, which she has announced that she's putting together. The signups for that are on Sunday for getting a deposit down and getting on that list to be able to attend. So I hope to be able to attend, possibly be able to instruct, and we'll see if maybe even able to vend a little bit at that retreat. We'll see. It sounds like so much fun, and I'm looking forward to that. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure to check out Knitting McPurley. I'll put links below again for her. And yeah, otherwise, I hope you guys are having fun with your fiber, whatever it may be that you're working on, and I look forward to visiting with you again in a couple weeks. See you later. Bye-bye. Oh man, this is gentle. Yeah, this is Hero. Isn't he cute? He's my son's puppy, and he's just a little over a year old, but he is a lover, and we love him. Huh? Yes, we do. Yes. Okay. Do you need to go out? Night? Yes.